One of the first things I want to find out from a partner is, how does that partner make their money? Knowing who you are, know thyself, and knowing your values and knowing what you'll tolerate and what you won't tolerate, which is something tons of people say out there. But, that's another decision filter that you have. If we do the show, and regardless of how it goes, people may look at you guys differently. Be humble, trust yourself to take chances, always do the more as expected, fail fast and move forward, those types of things. There's four times in my life that had I chose differently, my life would be some other alternative universe somewhere. Put a value on your time in terms of dollars, and that will create a floor to the decisions that you make.
Decision making is something that's fascinating to me. Obviously, you've made many decisions, big and small. Some of the things that you're
Bad
executing
decisions.
on, but I'm curious because I watched an interview with Bezos that he did with I think, what was it, Lex Friedman, and he talked about decision making and how most decisions are a revolving door. So you're talking about, okay, we intended to franchise this business, brought it in the portfolio, and now we changed our mind. How do you approach unwinding a decision like that, or just knowing when to hold them, knowing when to fold them? What's your mindset around that?
Well, so I actually wrote a book on decision making called Discernment: The Business Athlete's Regimen for a Great Life Through Better Decisions. So since you asked me about decision making, I have to mention that. And it talks a lot about what are your filters in decision making. So what I would suggest to you is that, wisdom is a cumulative thing, and it's based upon your experiences and how you take your experiences in life and how you categorize those, how you internalize those, kind of how you sort those, and how you create models of thought around your experiences, things that you've learned. So one of the things, I do a lot with partners and things like that. And one of the first things I want to find out from a partner is, how does that partner make their money? There's all different kinds to make money. 99% of them are just fine. And, and there's some that are illegal and people make their money that way. And obviously that's nothing that we're interested in being a part of, but some people are more transactional. Some people are, they want a table scrape along the way, and it's, speed to first dollar in their pocket. Some people are looking to build a more quality company. And are willing to take a longer term approach to it and investment to it. So getting aligned with partners and understanding how they make their money, I mean, that's a decision filter. That's a model of thought that I've learned over time, that before I enter into anything, I'll say, well, that's going to be a filter for me. What are the filters that I put in front of the decisions? Knowing who you are, know thyself, and knowing your values and knowing what you'll tolerate and what you won't tolerate, which is something tons of people say out there. But, that's another decision filter that you have. So I've got a set of family values, and I share the story in the book about, sitting down to decide if we were going to do Undercover Boss. I was on Undercover Boss in 2017. It was great for us, but nobody in our town really knew the economics of our business. We didn't, we were just kind of in the community, coaching kids, doing the stuff with the schools and all that. And, one of the decision filters was, well, hey, if we do the show, and regardless of how it goes, people may look at you guys differently. Your 7.1 million people saw the show. They saw me give away $250,000 of stuff. The company came off in a positive way. So, people might look at it and say, well, kids, you guys are, you're rich kids or something like that. So we had a set of family values, and we sat there, and, it was, live fun, respect others, be a servant leader, be humble, trust yourself to take chances, always do the more as expected, fail fast and move forward, those types of things. Like, it's, those are our family values that we've had for a decade. And inside of that, like, we knew that there was going to be risk and an inflection point. And I will tell you, your decision making around your inflection points is particularly impactful in your life. And what I've realized is that inflection points have three conditions around them. Number one, there's people that are involved. people you're responsible for, people that you care about, people that are aligned with you and want to accomplish something. There's always going to be people involved. The second thing is that there's going to be a great adventure or an opportunity at hand, something better, something you're reaching for. And then the other thing is there's going to be risk of loss. So on any inflection point, you've got to give something up to get something. In any inflection point in your life, if you can get good enough to realize when you're in one and you can take a step back and make a better decision at that fork in the road, which I think there's like 4 in my life that I made, if I look back, there's 4 times in my life that had I chose differently, my life would be some other alternative universe somewhere. And so your ability to, realize that, you're at an inflection point and then going down and sorting, okay, well, who am I really? And if I make this decision today, am I going to be trapped in a situation in 12, 24, or 36 months that's not consistent with who I am and who I wanted to be, not consistent with my vision? And your values are a good way to do that. I recommend the book, on the On Purpose Person by Kevin McCarthy. You spend $10, man, and you run through this process and you come out with this, I exist to serve by. So, when I did that 15 years ago, it was different. Today, I exist to serve by educating, entertaining, and inspiring entrepreneurs, man. That's what I do. So this is on purpose for me today. So once you know who you are, right? And then you understand your values. Now you got to go against your models of thought and say, okay, is this going to be worth my time? One thing that I coach people when they ask is, put a value on your time in terms of dollars, and that will create a floor to the decisions that you make. I mean, if you say, I want to make $50 an hour, there's lots of things you can do. If you say at the end of the year, when I go back and do the math, I needed to make $500 an hour, you have more limited options. I've got a friend who says $25,000 an hour. Think about the things that you can do to actually create enough value at $25,000 an hour, and how particular you're going to have to be about making decisions against a threshold like that. I mean, there's only a few things, you can't touch anything that's not going to be worth $100 million in 5 years, because it's just not going to math out. So these are the types of things, like when you get, you get these models of thought around these things. And as you're faced with a decision, you get disciplined about running it through these filters. And usually it's going to, most things are going to end up as a no.
If you enjoyed this short clip from the podcast, you can check out another short clip right here. Or if you want to watch the full episode of this podcast, you can watch that here. And remember, knowledge is not power. It's applied knowledge that's power. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.